So Shattered Throne is a fairly easy dungeon to solo flawless, but it can be very annoying at some points. I'll have dim links in the description to the builds and loadouts I used throughout this video. I'll try to break down each encounter and simplify strategies enough to help you get through it easy peasy. For the first encounter, I ran my Solar Healing Grenade Invincible Warlock, and I used a machine gun with a Riptide. But this part is not very difficult, and you can really run whatever you want here. But for this run, I wanted to use the safest builds that I know, and make this run as easy as possible. Now the mechanics are simple. Kill the adds in the area, and then a symbol will appear. Read the symbol that pops up, and then that'll tell you where to go next. Kill the next group of adds, get the symbol, and so on and so forth. You do this 7 times, and then you're done. All this encounter involves is clearing adds and doing some parkour. So just take your time, watch for gaps in the floor, you'll have no issues. It can be long sometimes, and if you find yourself running in circles, I do the same. This encounter is sometimes way too long, and it's my least favorite part of this run. But it's fairly easy, so no sweat. Now after you finish the first encounter, you'll have a long and dangerous walk to the second encounter. You can continue running the Invincible Warlock build, or Starfire. For this run, I use Starfire, and a good ranged scout rifle or pulse rifle is recommended. Now I recommend Polaris Lance if you have it. It has great range and great damage for clearing out many enemies that will be in your way. But any scout or pulse rifle will work. A good trusty or a BXR are my preferred options. I also recommend putting on a good rocket launcher, and you'll see why soon. So there's a bit of parkour here, and lots of enemies. So just make sure to put on Strafe Glide and take your time on that parkour. Stay at a distance, take out snipers first, then the rest of the adds. Snipers are what will kill you quickly if ignored for too long. Then there will be a mini boss who once you kill, the door will open. Cool guy. Now for this part, just stay back, use the door as cover, and take out all the sniper hobgoblins and knights on each side.
Yeah, it's called playing a little safe. Yeah, we play a little safe. Get him. Hey, we got him. That's right. Different button.
Once the first section is clear, move along the side, and then there will be a phalanx in the middle where you need to jump. Make sure to take him out from a distance so you don't risk getting booped off the map. You will then be able to see the rest of the snipers and knights as you continue through.
Hoi, hoi, hoi.
Use this little box as cover as you take out the rest of the enemies.
Dang, nice tank, bro. Harsh.
For this next part, take your time and kill every ogre that spawns, just staying far enough back so that way they won't attack you. If you don't, and they hit you while you're on the railings, you'll go flying off and lose the run real quick. So make sure to take your time with these guys. After they're down, I like to keep my rocket out while running across so I can take out any ogres that spawn in front of me real quick and just keep moving. If you don't have ammo in your heavy or you don't have a good rocket, you can try baiting out the spawns and then move back to one of the pillars or platforms with cover and sit back there and weed them down with primaries. Just take your time on this part and you'll be through in no time.
Feeling lazy. Get out of here. Oh, ew. I went a different path, didn't I? See?
Next is the Thrallway. Since this dungeon does not have rally flags, I would recommend swapping to the loadout for the second encounter here. This is because you will be killing a ton of Thrall as you make your way to the end of the Thrallway. The Thrall will spawn tons of ammo and will help you get your super back if you don't have it already. You're going to want to go into the second encounter with a ready super and full ammo. So, put on Starfire, a damage over time weapon like Anarchy, Osteo, and a linear, or Wither Horde with a linear. Refer to the dim link in the description for the build details that I use specifically, but those are some alternate options you can use. And make sure to have heavy ammo finder if you need one. Now getting through the Thrallway is very easy with solar. Since your fusion grenades will spawn fire sprites and cure you, you will get restoration as long as you keep getting kills with any solar weapons or ability after picking up a fire sprite and getting restoration. Restoration will negate the debuff in the Thrallway that prevents your shields from naturally recharging. You can also swap out Powering Rift for Healing Rift if you want extra security. The fusion grenade spam is mainly for the boss damage, and since you can spam them in a well, the Powering Rift is not as important if you want to play it safe here. Then, just walk your way to the end, killing any Thrall in your way, and you'll be done in no time. After that, you'll come into a split path. You can take the outside path with the booping taken blights, or turn left and take the path inside with the taken floor that damages you. I recommend taking the path left, and just make sure to kill the Phalanxes on your way. Take them out from a distance, and just avoid the floor and you're done. Much safer. Now after that is an area filled with a horde of Phalanxes. Just take your time, clear them out from a distance to avoid getting booped. Easy peasy. Then, make your way through the door at the end, and you are now at the second encounter. Once again, I recommend Starfire Protocol for the fusion grenade spam and a damage over time weapon, like mentioned. I do not recommend using rockets here though, because the boss will shoot Axion darts at you during damage, which can block your rockets and blow you up. It has happened to me before. If you want a safe run, run damage over time in a linear. The boss is not too hard, but taking out all the wizards quick enough might be tricky. All you have to do is kill 4 wizards around the room and pick up the buff they drop, called Petitioner's Mark. Once you pick up all 4 buffs, you'll get Petitioner's Burden, and once you have this, just run to the middle of the room to one of these deposit bowls and deposit the buff. The boss will now be damageable, and as soon as you deposit, drop your well in a spot where you can hit the boss and start doing as much damage as you can. He's pretty squishy, but you might not be able to get the 1 phase, so as soon as you finish damage, start running around the room and killing the wizards again. Rinse and repeat what you just did, and then finish them off. Just remember, fusion grenades will heal you with Cure. Make sure to be picking up those fire sprites for restoration to keep you alive throughout all this. Next up is another long and dangerous walk to the final boss. Just make sure you have strafe jump on and take your time with the parkour. There are lots of spots you can fall to your death here, so it's best to take it slow. I would recommend leaving your build and loadouts the same. Just make sure to have a good ranged primary you can swap to. That way you can fill up on ammo and super as you make your way to the boss. Because once again, there are no flags in this dungeon, so you want to get prepared before you get to the room. But first, let's kill these wizards and take the lift. All you'll be doing really here is clearing these floors and then moving up to the lift at the end. Fairly simple. You can take as much time here as you want. The only parts that you'll want to watch out for are the short Thrallway, the floor with Phalanxes, and the boop wall at the end. When you get to the mini Thrallway, just use the same strat you used on the first Thrallway. It's fairly simple. When you get to the floor with the Phalanxes, make sure to take your time and shoot them from a distance before crossing the beams, because they will launch you off and screw up the run real quick. Now when you get to the boop wall, first, take out the sniper so he doesn't bother you at all. Then, stand at the start and wait for the wall blights to start their shooting rotation. That'll be the first one in front of you. As soon as the first one shoots, start running along the wall and then jump over this little debris because it can slide you off, and then jump over to the platform that the sniper was on. Once here, there will be the next set of wall blights. Once again, wait for the first one to go off at the start, then begin running along the wall all the way to the end. Jump up to this balcony and kill the sniper chilling here, then you're done. Take the lifts up, and you'll be at the final boss. Now for Dûl Incaru, I recommend the Starfire Protocol build, but for this I recommend using Empowering Rift instead of healing, and you'll see why. To do damage, you need to kill the 3 big knights in the room. They each drop a buff, which when you pick them up, it allows you to damage the boss. The more buffs you have, the more damage you do. There will be a cleansing pool in the center of the room on a platform for you to remove the buff, because it will kill you if you let its timer get to 0. That should not be an issue here since this boss is a pretty easy 1 phase. If you don't get the 1 phase, it's no sweat. Make sure to cleanse on the platform, and then shoot the crystal that spawns behind her to remove the shields on the knights, and then just repeat the process. Now what can kill you really quick is letting the knights get too close. Even in a 1600 dungeon, they can hit really hard. They also go invisible after you damage them enough, which is really annoying. So to start, run to the back of the room behind the boss and drop an Empowering Rift over here in cover. Now in the footage you can see that I'm running Healing Rift in this, and this made the encounter much more difficult than it needed to be, because as you can see it's much harder to take down the knights and I allowed them to get too close. So with Empowering Rift you're able to sit there and just spam grenades by tossing a Wither Horde on them, Just throw nades and you will melt those knights really quick. Wait for all 3 of them to be dead, and then run over, pick up all 3 buffs, and then drop a well right in front of the boss.
Because as you can see, I only have the ×2 right here and I'm not doing as much damage. So I kill the 3rd knight, pick up that 3rd buff, and I'm melting.
Throw your nades, do your rotation, get it done, and you will melt the boss. And voila, that's it. I hope this helps, and best of luck.